It's a momentous time for the King Center, which is celebrating its 50th year and the 50th anniversary of Martin Luther King Jr.'s assassination. During that half-century, Dr. King's legacy and influence has become global. He's now celebrated in more than 100 countries.
When he was assassinated, he was one of the most hated men in America. As many of you know, he had spoken out against the war in Vietnam, our policies concerning that war, and he received a lot of criticism from a lot of different communities and groups, and especially even from those who worked with him in the civil rights struggle. They felt like he needed to keep his attention focused on civil rights and not delve into some of the foreign affairs. But he said he could no longer segregate his conscience because of what he saw that was going on. And we know now that that war was a mistake for our country. We acknowledge that.
There would not likely be a King Center nor a King National Holiday without the passionate advocacy of Coretta Scott King. Now that torch has been passed to Reverend Bernice King.
And who else but Martin Luther King Jr. in his words and his teachings can help us to find direction. And so this year, as we came upon the 50th, we wanted to emphasize his voice, his teachings, and his love for humanity. And I always use the word humanity because he was a true humanitarian. Yes, he was a patriot, but he taught us in his last book that as we move forward, and this was in '67, where do we go from here, chaos and community? Our loyalties have to shift. That we can no longer just be loyal to tribe, to groups, even to nation, but we must have an overriding loyalty to humanity as a whole. So he was one of the first who really talked about globalization, who really spoke to the importance of understanding our human connectedness. I love his quote that said, "We're caught in an inescapable network of mutuality, tied in a single garment of destiny, and what affects one directly affects all indirectly. And I cannot be all that I ought to be until you are all that you ought to be, and you cannot be all that you ought to be until I am all that I ought to be." And that applies not just to individuals, but it applies to nations. And so all of the nations of the world need Dr. King's teachings.
To commemorate King Week, President Trump signed legislation authored by Congressman John Lewis that turns the MLK site into a national federal park. That means this building right here, where SCLC was first headquartered, is now part of a national park. It institutionalizes SCLC's history forever.
When this park was first created, it was created basically as the birth home. It was a site. It was the Martin Luther King Jr. National Historic Site. And visitors knew that they would come here to actually tour the birth home. Well, we have since grown. We're no longer just a site. We have additional buildings that are now part of this historical park. Of course, we have the historic Ebenezer Baptist Church. We now have extended and expanded to include the Masonic Temple. We have the Visitor Center, we have the King Center, all within the boundaries of the historical park.
Martin King graduated from Morehouse College with a C in public speaking and a grade of C in preaching. Go figure, because King is now, of course, considered among the world's foremost orators.
So there's a lot of, history and connectedness contained now in this park, and so future generations will have a better understanding and sense of the holistic aspect of my father and his legacy.
The January 15th King holiday is the culmination of a week-long celebration and a dizzying list of activities highlighted by the Salute to Greatness dinner, where New Jersey Senator Cory Booker will be honored.
And who else but Martin Luther King Jr. in his words and his teachings can help us to find direction.
I'm Maynard Eaton reporting.